Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stories from Motorsports. Today, we are lucky to have none other than Boris Said, Doug Kenny, and myself in this episode. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. What about you, Boris?
I'm doing good. Thanks.
Yeah, you enjoying the holiday season?
Yep. Yeah, we just went out to Utah, did a little bit of snowmobiling for a few days. Now we're back in Southern California. So it was fun.
Yeah, snowmobiling is a lot of fun. Have you seen what Jeffrey Bodine does with it and all that?
I haven't. I used to do a lot the Bodine Bobsled Challenge. We'd go up to Lake Placid every winter and run. But I didn't know he snowmobiled, but I love it. Me and my son do it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Is Boris Jr.'s career just starting to launch?
Yeah, I mean, he just spent a month in Australia, training with a bunch of really fast young guys. Jack Doohan, a Formula One guy named Nash Morris, and a friend of mine that I met when I raced Bathurst 10 years ago. We became great friends, and he trains young guys there. Brock Feeney, the latest winner of V8 Supercar, he's one of his students. So Boris got to go over there and spend a month living at his house and running every day, and he had a blast. So he came back Christmas Eve and went to Utah, did some snowmobiling. Now, next week we go down to Florida. We're going to do the two Hoosier Super Tour races in his Miata, down in Florida. So looking forward to that. And then we come back for a week and then go back down for his first Trans Am test this season. We're having a big 2-day test at Sebring. He's going to be a part of that with 3D Motorsports.
That's incredible. What do you think of that, Justin?
That is incredible for your boy. So, what do you got planned this year, boys?
I might do a few Trans Am races here and there in a TA1 car. But mostly, I'm really excited just about helping my kid. He has a really, really big opportunity with 3Dimensional with Doug Peterson's team in the Trans Am series. So, they signed him up for the first 4 races, probation period, to see how he does. And hopefully he can keep all the fenders on that car and, run in the top 10 and hopefully get a full season.
That's incredible. What was your life like in Connecticut and New York and California?
I've had I started racing 35 years ago. So I started out where I lived in Connecticut, in my hometown. But when I moved out here to California 30 some years ago, my racing really took off, and, my roots are kind of here. I love Southern California, all the people I've met, through the No Fear days and the Spy Optic days. And, now I own 2 car dealerships with Rick Hendrick, and K1 Speeds, our go-kart companies. It's really taken off. We started in 2003 and we have over 59 tracks now around the country. And, we're just about to open our first outdoor facility, which is going to be one of the nicest go-kart facilities in America it's the only FIA sanctioned track in North America. So it's pretty exciting. We're going to open up in February. We were driving on the track a few weeks ago. It was a lot of fun. It's an amazing facility for go-karts. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome to hear. Is No Fear still around, or is it just sort of vanished?
No, it vanished. It was, a statistic from, the crash in 2008 when everything, the whole economy crashed. It took No Fear down with it, which was too bad. It had a long run, 20 years. It was a really cool company. But they're good guys. We're still all friends, and never know. Someday you might see that name again.
Yeah. Fire away, Justin.
Okay. So, boys, tell us, one of my questions for you is, what do you think of the new NASCAR Cup car? You only raced in it once last year, but what do you think about the way that car glides and everything?
Well, it's definitely a lot different than the old car. That was one of the reasons I was really curious what that car would be like, and I was lucky enough to do one race in it. And it's got a great gearbox now, a sequential gearbox. It's got much bigger brakes, with the 18-inch wheels. And it's a nice car. I think the racing was great last year. So whether you're a fan of it or not a fan of it, it's an expensive car. Do I think they needed it? I thought the old cars were great too, but I think last year was some of the most exciting racing I've ever seen. That race at Martinsville was friggin' amazing, end of that race. I mean, to see what Ross Chastain did, and I don't think he could have done that in the old car. So, I think it's a hit. I just think his first year, they didn't have enough parts. There's a lot of teething problems, just like any new car. So I think once it gets worked out, I think, no one will ever think about it again.
Yeah, Ross's move was amazing. I remember seeing clips of it, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was the coolest thing I've ever seen in racing, I think. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was unbelievable. And just the fact that he thought of it, and then the fact that he had the balls to pull it off was pretty amazing. So
it sort of reminded me of the ending of the 2006 Indy 500, where Marco blocked Sam Hornish and in one turn, causing him to lose ground, and then Hornish all of a sudden came back to make that final lap pass.
Yep. It was exciting like that. That's for sure.
So,
yeah.
in your time in motorsport, what car would you say is the most fun you have ever drove?
I get that asked a lot because I've driven so many different things, and I mean, I liked them all. I mean, for me, racing's racing. It doesn't matter if I'm in an SCCA regional or a go-kart track or the Daytona 500. It all is fun for me. I mean, I think special moments will always be, getting the pole at Daytona and the Pepsi 400 when I mean, that's a track that I watched Dale Earnhardt Sr., who was my idol, drive on, and I thought that was a cool moment. But I think the most special moment I've ever had in a car was winning at 24 Hours of Nürburgring, being the first American and the only American to do it, in a track that is probably the hardest racetrack in the world with, over 180 corners and 230 cars on the track at the same time. And where it's located, basically right in the Ardennes Forest where the Battle of the Bulge took place. So it had a lot of special meaning to me to win that race and to be the first American. And that was probably one of the greatest feelings I ever had at a racetrack.
So do you have any plans to race yourself? I know I asked, but are you just mainly focused on your son this year and helping him along?
Well, I still loved racing. So, I've been running for Pancho Weaver and some Anchor Bolt Company out of Chicago, and one of Pancho Weaver's cars too in the Trans Am series. So I hope to do a few more Trans Am series races again. I still love driving. My FIA rating got moved to a bronze, so I've been getting a lot of calls about going to Le Mans next year because they have to have a bronze driver in the GTD cars. So I might do that. I'm not sure. But, right now my main focus is my son, being there for him at the racetrack and then, driving some Trans Am TA1 races, which are just, that's like a vacation for me. I just love driving those cars more than any other car I've ever driven.